Yes. Welcome you guys to another edition of the New Jack Swing podcast. We got myself, we got Vijay, we got Stevie Street. How you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing
Good
good.
evening.
This is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a
Yes.
one to discuss.
Well, Andrew Knight is is going to be joining us shortly, and
We hope.
yes, and this is definitely yeah. He said to start without him. He's coming soon. And for anyone who's watching the Champions League, Saka has redeemed himself for missing a penalty. So Arsenal are 4-0 up against Real Madrid and seemingly going to the semi-finals. Yee. Okay. The 411 remix album. What did you guys make of the fact that MCA did quite a bit of this. They did it with this album, they did it with Shy, they did it with the Bobby album, they did it with Hoodie Mac. No, not Hoodie Mac. They did it with the Poison album. What did you make of the fact that they
all
did this?
The MCA artists got a remix album. If they had a big enough album, they got a remix album as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the Jodeci, Forever My Lady. I think that sold 3 million copies, and I thought that warranted a remix album.
I think they did the Unplugged. M-Mac, welcome. Melodic, welcome. I think they did the Unplugged. Did they not do a live Unplugged for Jodeci? So I think that was there. And lately was such a big thing, so they just took that whole album.
Yeah, the Unplugged was a nice touch. I think that was an interesting album. But you know what it is? As music fans, we want more, and it's like it's never enough. Like we got the Unplugged album, but it would have been nice to have a remix album for Jodeci. But it is what it is. But it was lovely. The Unplugged album was fantastic. Very good.
Definitely, guys. Definitely. For those who are just joining in, okay, Max says after I don't think it would be considered a remix album in 2025. So did it sound quite different from the original, do you think?
I think it's completely different, but I'd love to know what MMAC, what your thoughts are, why you're saying that, because that's an interesting comment.
Yeah. Anybody's facing down.
What about the big news of the tour? That's the tour dates that she's coming to the UK.
Okay, so before we start with the album, so Stevie's saying that Mary J. Blige is coming to the UK. I know that she is. It's going to be in London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but also she's going to be in Manchester. So, Stevie, do you plan to attend?
I'll be honest, I'd rather go to the one at the Tottenham Stadium, just because of the parking situation. The co-op is a bit. It's a bit of a nightmare.
It's going to be a.
Are you serious?
Well,
is it?
Parking is not good at Tottenham.
Oh dear.
And, speaking of Tottenham, which is my team, at least we're good for something at the moment. We can at least host good concerts. Have a track underneath.
The stadium looks amazing, Vijay. Really does.
The stadium's fantastic, but it would be nice if you like. We're football fans. We're there as football fans. I'd rather have the old ground and not have.
We're getting Mary J. Blige supported by it says Soul to Soul, so we can't really complain, can we?
It'll be amazing. It's fantastic. The acoustics are fantastic there, and whoever is there, I'm sure they'll have a fantastic time.
I think it'll be especially.
Yeah. So welcome Robert Taylor, welcome Leon, and so Leon was saying that Sweet Thing Hip Hop Mix was the best. Okay. Max says I think the remixes have a different sound. Most of the songs just add a rap in the middle. The instrumentals didn't seem to glue the lyrics together on the album. I mean, so there's going to be quite a different responses to what this Mary J. Blige 411 remix album is. On the 4th of May is when we're going to be doing for Robert Taylor, 4th of May is when we're going to be doing the Battle of the Producers. So get your list ready for that. Why this album means a lot to me, because I do remember that Okay. Better late than never. Mr. Knight, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing well. Th- so when I remember I was in the US, I'd moved to Alabama, and BET Video Soul were doing a special. If you call in at a certain time, you had a chance to win this album, the Bobby remix album, Keen Life, and the Shy album. And I remember just calling, constantly calling, and I said, "Yes, you've gone through." And they sent me these three albums in a post. And Bobby stuff, I listened, I was like, not too bad. The Shy album, okay, not bad. But this album, out of the three albums, this was the one that I cherished, and I kept all three, of course, but this was definitely the one I cherished. This was the one that I thought, wow, it's there was I actually preferred it to the original, and that might seem sacrilege to some people, but this was my one at the time. This was my favorite Mary, and I think only Share My World has surpassed it as my favorite Mary. So Share My World is my favorite Mary album, but I think this is a close second. So, I mean, your thought? I mean, do you think this is one of her better albums, even though it's a remix album of her original first album?
I'm going to jump in really quick. I'm super passionate about this album, and it's crazy to me that me and you both prefer Share My World. That's number one. That's not a very, I think, common opinion. Number two, was talking to my girlfriend, and she's a big fan of the original version of What's the 411. But for me, I was listening, and she was kind of getting me to like maybe see like that side. But then I listened to it this morning, and I was like, oh hell no. This this
Yeah,
album,
hell no.
this album, I could say so much, but the short version is, to me, this album is what really kicked off what I would call the hip hop soul era properly. And I'll talk to a bit more in terms of like, the appearances by like Biggie, the Craig Mack, like it's almost like all the DNA for the next like 94, 95, 96. It's all in the embryo that is this album. All of it's there. All the strands of DNA are in there. And it's nuts how phenomenal and underrated the album actually is. So I think if anything, this podcast is doing the world a service, because if you haven't heard this album, you need to hear it.
Okay. Vijay, were you nodding with agreement or disagreement?
Firstly, let me lead by saying that it's an incredible remix album. It is a remix album. It is an incredible remix album. For me, I can't say it's better than the original album. I mean, they're apples and pears. You cannot compare one to the other. I think they're completely different projects. And if I was to put the Mary albums in order, I would put What's the 411, What's the 411 remix, or My Life, maybe My Life Before, I'm not sure. And then I'd put Share My World. But all four of those albums are exceptional. They are through the roof good. Like, there's not a dud track on any of those albums. I love them all. But it's a remix album. That's all.
Okay. Stevie, what about you?
There's two sides to this coin. The first side is probably Vijay and myself at the time were probably in the record shops buying all the 12-inch singles or CD singles, whatever format. So you were getting all the remixes. The DJs had the remixes. They were playing them in the clubs. The remixes they were for the clubs, because that's where I heard them all. So when this album came out, I was like, well, I've got all these. I've already got them. Maybe the remix of What's the 411 was probably the rarest mix. Probably didn't have that on a 12. But everything else, I was like, I've got it, but I'm gonna still get a vinyl and a CD copy, because they're all very strong mixes. If you were a DJ, if you weren't going in the record shops like yourself, Nnamdi, to get this CD and hear all these mixes probably for the first time, it probably did blow your head away. I understand. But if you're a DJ collector, you had them all. So you were just buying something that you already had. So like I say, there's two sides to it. There's your casual listener who was happy to spend, I don't know, £15 on the CD and get all the mixes at a cost price. And then there's the likes of us, me and Vijay, who spent £10-15 a pop on a US import 12 as a promo CD single. We'd already busted £200 on all these mixes. So we got, and then we got to go and buy it.
I've got something I got to add though
as well. But remember, these mixes are aimed at a club, so I don't see this as an album. I just see it as a compilation of really strong club mixes.
All right, so great point. My counterpoint to that, however, is I do think the album is an experience, because I don't know if the intros where Puppy's going, hey, check it, who we have here is another one, the remix, orchestrated, all that. Then when there's, I think it might be Jeff Red or somebody, either Jeff or Andre Harrell, asks her, so how did it feel when you were performing at Madison Square Garden? And she's
Andre.
like, it was Andre, it felt good. It's like there's so many different interludes. The album is just like a continuation. So to me, it's not just like separate remixes, just all compiled. It's a start to finish. Like, I hate to say that Bad Boy is kind of a ruined brand, but to me, it's the first Bad Boy record. Like, even though it's not a Bad Boy record per se, it is the first Bad Boy record. Everybody's on there. And that's what I mean by, I want to keep going, but I just want to say, I just had to say that as a counterpoint to, it's not just everything that you just bought already, because those interludes for me still matter. They still are the connective tissue to the whole experience. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it felt like one of the first mixtapes as well. It had a mixtape vibe to it.
Very much a mixtape. Yes,
but
I agree with that.
Say, those of us who bought all those mixes, you were just getting something that you'd already bought, and what they did was, like you say, a bit of added X. They tried to sequence the album with some interludes, and listen, it is what it is. It is a solid remix album. I'm not saying it isn't, but to those the proper collectors, DJs, you knew you had all this in your box already. It was nothing new.
Yeah, I think for me, some of the songs that are on my list, this album brought them to life a lot better than the original one. It felt like the first one was, one of the words I learned from Jack and me, filler. There was a lot of fillers on the original, and with this as a remix, they were like, we're going to take them and bring some life with them, and and so that's how I saw it. Now, don't get me wrong, when Real Love and all that came out, that was like, wow, epic. But I thought, as I said, that they really enhanced it with this album. But we'll, as I say, we'll get to dive through it. The original was a classic, but if I had a choice to pick between the two to buy right now, this would always without even a thought. I don't think I've listened to the original as often as I've listened to this one. Yeah. But as Stevie clarified as well, there's a very if you guys have already bought half these for the majority of us, the first time would have been, when we got this out, when we bought this album. It
was worth doing.
Okay.
Totally, it was totally worth. They had enough material there to do another cash-in, the MCA, and that's exactly what it is. It's a really good cash-in. Get all the mixes, get them out, and and like you said, Joe, I wish there'd have been more. Like you say, Jodeci one, they could have been so much more, but beggars can't be choosers, can they? You know what I mean?
No.
So I would think that the remix for this was a bridge to say, okay, you're going on tour, we're making the My Life album, so this was a nice little bridge while that was happening. Like that. It worked for her. It did not work for Bobby Brown because he did the remix album and stayed on tour too long and didn't have, and the Bobby album should have come out 2 years earlier, to really capitalize. And it didn't really work for BBD. I love the Word to the Mother and the Boost City remix was really good, but then I don't know what happened with Hootie Mac. So
what's funny what you just said? Here's one of the things that separates what Bobby happened and BBD versus this album. So again, to me, the musical landscape changed between like Don't Be Cruel and Dance You Know It or Boot City and then like the mid 90s soul, right? Whereas I feel like this album, if not like was ahead of the time and was actually in vogue for the next 3-4 years, it might have actually influenced. It might have actually, created the movement. Because when I listen to like Faith Evans, "You Used to Love Me," to me that sounds like a song that could have been on this remix album. It's literally, so it's like it worked for her because the sound was just so ahead of its time, and it was culture creating, not culture following. And that's why I feel like this album, I mean, even like the I'm sorry, I was gonna like wait till I get to that song, but there, you know the beat that again, it's a Joe Cocker beat that is the bass, that is the basis for the California Love, that dun 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 dun. So in My Love, Teddy actually throws in that little da 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 for a quick second, and it goes right back to the original beat. I mean, there's so much innovation happening in this album that I just don't think it can be stressed enough that this album wasn't just a collection of remixes. To me, it was a collection of culture creating, movement creating, sound vibe creating, sonic perfection, man. I'm not biased.
One thing I wanted to say about, because you mentioned this, I think you mentioned this in a WhatsApp chat or something, that this was the beginning of hip hop soul, and
the first album was, yes, the original.
So I don't think Intro get enough credit, and I say that because Puffy went to Intro, listened to what Eddie F was doing. He copied those sounds and styles, recreated it for these other bits and pieces, and that's what happened. So Intro were the nucleus. They just were. Whether they're an Eddie F, and whether they are given the credit for it or not, that's a conversation perhaps for another day.
We didn't know that at the time, though, did we?
We didn't know.
Intro came out, like you say, they came out a year later. So
yeah, exactly.
And this is why people say that Mary J. Blige is the queen of hip hop soul, because of
that's it.
The timestamp on it, really.
It's the timestamp, and
there was a shift by that fall of the autumn of '92. There was a shift. I was thinking, how is the next year going to go? Because they were sampling. There was a lot of funk samples in the New Jack records as well. I thought, is it going to go more funkier? But I could feel there was a change. I didn't know what was happening, but something had changed, like you say. And Guy had split up, so
the other massive shift here was what you said. Like, a lot of these singles were available to buy, so most of the record collectors, music collectors would have had it. But the thing about this album was those 2 Teddy remixes, because My Love hadn't quite come out yet. It hadn't come out as a single yet. And Changes I've Been Going Through. And we were like, hold on. Like, for me, it was like Mary J. Blige and Teddy Riley. What? This is going to be insane. I mean, my brain was in overload, like just the idea of that. Then I heard those remixes, and those remixes are just insane, aren't they? Changes I've Been Going Through and My Love. Very special. So
there's a question that in the comments, and of course it's music, right? So there's a whole bunch of opinions. So, but one of them I read like over and over again, even though it was like by a magazine or something. But one of the things about what made the difference between hip hop soul and New Jack Swing was hip hop soul was actually, the hip hop side of it was more pronounced, particularly on the music bed. So let's say Real Love, that was the Audio 2 sample, that was basically it, stripped down to just a hip hop loop. Come and Talk to Me, for example, if you listen to the album version, it's very melodic, it's orchestrated, all that stuff. And the hip hop soul version is that EPMD dun-dun, dun-dun, like stripped down version. So it's a slower tempo usually, and again, it's a more stripped down production approach, and the music is really just more a hip hop loop, like straight up. It's stripped down. That would be my definition of what the difference was, and just more soulful, I think, in general, like the vocals.
Well, you just said it there, hip hop and soul. You got hip hop beat, and you've got soulful vocals, melodies over the top. Whereas if you take New Jack Swing, say like Kyle West, where the production's really, the tempo's really high, and there's a lot of orchestration and melodies, and this. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Hey, Chimpies, long time. You Woo, Leon. Okay, Marco. I mean, yeah. So it's you're definitely right. Not a lot of credit for intro, not a lot of credit for the pen skills of Kenny Green, but also Eddie F. Eddie F. very understated and doesn't get a lot of credit for because I used to just think he was a heavy D's DJ, like not realizing the movement he created with these sounds, with the Untouchables. And he said in an interview, he created the Untouchables because he wanted to get his friends some work. He just said, "Oh, you guys are coming around saying, can you give us some work, managers?" And he said, "Okay, let me put stuff together." One of the most unselfish guys in the industry. So let us start. There were 10 songs. There were 10 songs, but there were 12 tracks. We had 2 interludes. One of them was the Leave a Message, and then the other one was the Andre and Mary sort of chats, which I didn't think would keep in there. But as we start, what are your thoughts on the Leave a Message? The first one and then this one. What are your thoughts about that whole concept? I mean, the whole vibe of what they did with that.
We got the flavor. We got the flavor. And it's even hearing Rusty Russ come on at the end and bless it. You see, I loved that. I loved all of it. Obviously loved all of it. Yo, Mary, pick up the phone. Like the whole, it was an experience for me. So, anyways, I just jumped in. But first one, cool. I got to re-listen to it. But Martin Lawrence, you almost feel a glow up in the lineup of the message leavers. So, all right, y'all talk.
I didn't know that Pharrell had done a rap for changes I've been going through. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That would make sense. Very interesting.
It felt like you could hear stuff at the back of it. It felt like there was something at the back of it, but you know what? We will ask Mucho and Sprague because they were because Heavy D flew in to do his rap and they were all in the studio. So we will definitely find out from Mucho and Sprague about that. But yeah, the Leave a Message. The fact that this was something that was. I think she did it 3 times. She did this album, the remix, the original album, and then started with Share My World, but kind of didn't continue to. If you remember, it started off and she answered right away.
I'm trying to remember that one. It might have been a different mix. I remember there was like a little.
Oh, maybe it was this one.
Yeah, but this one. I mean, this one definitely had the intro. I mean, that's why I remember.
Yeah.
I think the original was done by Tony DeFat, and this one was done by Mark Sparks for Cackalack.
Tony DeFat did this one.
Right now. Tony DeFat did this one. Yeah, I'm looking at the credits right now.
Yeah.
But Naked Tim Dog.
Yeah. Yeah, but Naked Tim Dog did this one. Yeah, you're right. It was Tim Dog. Mark Sparks did Sweet Thing. Sorry, I'm thinking of Sweet Thing for some reason. But I thought it was fantastic that you had all these people. Like, this is what it was like. It was like an ode to Mary. Like, Mary, you're here. You've arrived. Come on, we're ready for you.
But we don't know who you are. I mean, it's they're hyping up somebody who hasn't. I mean, she was on. She did the stuff with Father. But she was no one. It wasn't like she was Missy. Like Missy did a lot of features before her album, but Mary, so this was them almost hyping her up. Like, yeah, man, you're going to be big.
Wait, for this album or the first album?
No, the first album. So
okay, yes, agreed.
I'm just talking about the whole concept of.
Yeah. So she was on Uptown Records and she did backing vocals and she did what she did with Father MC, etc. But the first time I heard her name, like I acknowledged her name, was on this Strictly Business soundtrack. And for some reason, when you don't know an artist, for about 2 weeks, I called her Mary J. Bridges. It must be why. That was what I called her. I didn't know what her name was. I didn't know who it was. I thought it must be Bridges because BL doesn't seem like it makes sense. I don't know what it was in my head. But that song was just, You Remind Me was just absolute magic when it came out. We were like, what is this? And then we saw the credits and you saw Dave Jam Hall had produced it. and I think was that written by Eric Miltier? So again, like the combination of those Eric Miltier and Dave Jamhall was just insane. And then, yeah, the introduction to Mary.
Yeah, I mean it's a good. I mean it's a really good thing that they to do to have all these celebs to sort of drop a message like, yeah, we know you, and it then gives you the sense of, oh, who's this person that even Martin knows her, and all these guys that are checking in on her. Once you start that, leave a message, it really takes it. It's really it's really good concept, and I like the fact that they continued it with this one. And Puffy says, you know what? Wait until what we drop
We're in
next.
the lab.
So-
We're making my life. I'm pretty sure, if I remember, I think Quincy Jones is even on there. I think, from what I remember, someone saying, "I heard the new joint. It's banging" or something like that. But I could.
I think that was the original one.
I'll have to double check that. But the original one I don't really.
Yeah.
I listened to maybe like twice in my life. But the remix one I listened to like. So.
But it just also
That's just the craziest sentence, man. The craziest sentence, man. You've heard the first album twice in your life. The intro.
But just before we start, I think it got me thinking about the fact that how much time they produce the albums, and they're just waiting for stuff. So they're already talking about, actually on the original one, CL Smooth is talking about the remix on the intro of the first album. He's always saying, yeah, we're just in a studio doing the remix. I'm like, but you're just dropping the original album. So you can start to see how they're already thinking ahead and stuff like that.
For sure.
So, yeah. Anyway, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to start from number 10 down to number 1 for the 411 remix album. And when we get to number 1, we'll recount our 10 down before we talk about our number 1 song. And so for me, number 10 for me might shock a few people, but was Sweet Thing. I wasn't a big fan of the original one. And it pains me to think that this was the blueprint of My Life album. That sense of remaking old songs. I think this one was better than the remix, the original one, because I liked the drums, the added drums to it. But Sweet Thing was my least played song on the album. So Sweet Thing is number 10 for me. Bad on the album, bad on the remix. Yeah, I think the remix was slightly better. But Sweet Thing was number 10 for me. Timmy Lee, welcome. We haven't seen you. Melodic put changes I've been going through. Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun show. That's all I gotta say.
Vijay, what's number 10 for you?
My number 10 is also Sweet Thing. Definitely Sweet Thing.
Okay.
It's not a bad song. The remix is very good. There was a promo 12 drop for this one. The original production by Soul Convention I liked. I think it worked. I love the Shaka Khan version, but the Mark Sparks remix, as good as it is, I have to put something at number 10, and Sweet Thing is it.
Wow.
Okay. Stephen.
I've gone with changes. I've been going through it. Number 10, Teddy Mix.
What?
Hold on. Before you all, let me say what I'm going to say. The original album version was very depressing to listen to. Very depressing. It had a sample going through it, but as a song and her vocal, it's very depressing. On this remix, I do prefer what he's done with the mix, but I think there's a major problem with the mastering, and that's the reason why I've got it at number 10. There's just, do you remember them Prince mixes that he did that don't sound mastered? This mix doesn't sound mastered at all. The levels when you're playing it, you're like, Why is it so low compared to all the other mixes? It was so
Are you
low.
talking about Love Sign? Are you talking about Love
No,
Sign?
talked about Love Sign, yeah, them
Yeah.
mixes. They weren't mastered. And I think the same for this. I don't think this mix was mastered because it's so low down the volume that I can hear the sounds he's putting it, and it's got the lately bass and the beat, and I'm like, yeah, it's got all the right sounds, but it's not pumping out like a remix should be in a club, and that's probably why I didn't hear it get played much. So
I agree with you.
On top of that, the song's a bit depressing. So that's my reasons for it. And I'm backing up with facts there. Unless the remix come on and tell me that was mastered, I'm going with that. I'm sorry.
No, with the mastering element, I understand the sound was a little bit louder than it needed to be in certain parts. With Love Sign, because you mentioned that, the sound was a bit dim on that, but that was off the bootleg. If you take the sound off the cassette, the cassette promo or the CD, the audio is very different. I've heard snippets of the CD, but even the cassette audio, it's far superior. So
Okay.
what you have is like it's not a good one. It is mastered.
But I don't think there's just something not there with the mastering this. I know
what you mean. I know what you mean. It's like
you don't normally get this with a Teddy mix. When you get a Teddy mix, they're always spot on. The mix, the mastering, the production's always spot on. But with this, I'm even then thinking, oh, there's something a bit off here. Listen to it again. You probably think, yeah.
I know what you mean by what you've just said.
You've got to get past the, oh, it's Teddy Riley remix. Yeah, it is the Teddy, but listen to it first. Listen to it without, what your ears are.
I thought, you have those like in the Matrix where you have like the Agent Smith. He's in one place, he's in two places, in three places. I felt like that about Teddy Riley, because when I heard that he was doing the remixes of Changes I've Been Going Through and My Love, I was like, how is this man able to be everywhere? So it felt like it's not possible to be everywhere. So is he a bit rushed? And from what I understand, Changes I've Been Going Through and My Love, Sprag Doogie had a big influence on those productions.
Yeah, Mucho.
Yeah,
Mucho did. Yeah, Mucho was especially some of the vocoder as well on that. But Anyway, Stevie has his opinion there. What about you, Andrew?
I'm backing up with facts here. Then my ears. That's what my ears are hearing.
Well, it is favorite. So as I said.
So
he's brought a red card out, so that's good.
So I love this show because we have strong opinions here, and I just want to say, Lee, thank you for being that drink of water to say that the original Sweet Thing was better than the remix, because I completely agree. The blasphemy that was being spouted. No, I'm joking. Anyway, going back to my number 10, Stevie, don't even worry about it, dude. Changes I've Been Going Through is absolutely my number 10 too. I'm not even going to get into the mastering. I'm not even going to get into the technical stuff. It just didn't grab me. It was like, it's a good song, don't be wrong, but like, to me, it's like, of the entire collection, absolutely number 10 for sure, without question. But you'll be surprised by number 9 potentially. But I'll back that up.
So what did you pick for number 10?
Changes I've Been Going Through. So me and Stevie are the same, and then somebody else in the comments also had that one down. It's all right.
Okay. Okay. Moving to number 9. This wasn't too bad, but I preferred this one to the original. If this was the original album, this would have been it would still be number 9. I Don't Want to Do Anything featuring KC. I think it had the production was a little bit better. Where I tend to get caught out was is when they sing together. It's like one of those Diane Warren sort of with David Foster. We could be, and I just didn't like that kind of old school stuff. I mean, the elements I enjoyed it, but I thought Devante had so much better tracks he could have given them. He was doing All I See, and he was doing all these Cry For You and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do anything. As I said, the mix was a lot better with this than the original. And I think maybe because I just didn't like the original version of it, that it just still kept it in my bottom half of the table. So number 9 is I Don't Want to Do Anything featuring KC.
So
Vijay.
for me, that when we did Revival, I had 6 songs which were the same as Stevie's in the same place. So today it seems like I'm going to be with you, Nnamdi, because my number 9 is also I Don't Want to Do Anything. And I love the idea that Mary J. Blige had recorded a track with Devante Swing. That was just so exciting, the idea of that. Then to think that you're adding Casey Haley to the vocals to that song. I have excitement overload. So that was the original. And then you had this remix, which was done by, who did the remix of this? I Don't Want to Do Anything was Vincent Herbert, 3 Boys from Newark, and Ben Harrison. I like it. I like it a lot. It's the hip hop mix, the daddy hip hop mix is great, but there's no dud tracks on this. So being at number 10 or number 9 on this list is an honor. It's still very good because for me there are no dud tracks on this album.
Yeah,
that's my number 9.
Yeah. Chimbis remembers that we do kind of drop in David Foster every now and then. We have to do a top 10 David Foster because that's a tribute to Stevie. Anyway, Stevie, what's number 9 for you?
What's the 411 remix? I've got nothing negative to say about it. I think what I'm guilty of is not listening to it enough. That's probably why it's at number 9. I'm not actually, even back then, I was playing it this week and I thought, why have I not listened to this a lot more? Because that Notorious B.I.G. raps is great. It's fantastic. And you got that slow looping funk thing going through it. I guess, like you say, because there was so much other stronger mixes on here that I was listening to a lot more, that it kind of got lost. So for me, this is the lost remix that I didn't really give enough time to, but it's a great mix. So what's the 411 at number 9?
Wow. Goodness. Okay. What's the 411? Wow, Stevie's going heads to tails today. Okay. Darren, I will ask Sprague if he remembers you. Chimby, no, I didn't remember to ask Stadio about the remix. I should have asked him, but I'll bring them back. Stetophonics. I interviewed Stetophonics, and I didn't realize that Dadio did the remix. It did on the album. I know Stevie was sending me messages around that, but I just didn't do the connection. Andrew, number 9.
Number 9. All right. So this is why you're going to be surprised. I'll just say it. Sweet Thing. I love Sweet Thing. Back in 1992. Yeah, 1992. Mary had 3 songs, 3 singles. Of course, You Remind Me, then Real Love, and then, of course, Sweet Thing. And that was the record when I was a freshman in high school that pulled me in. I grew up in Canada, so I just want to give you guys a heads up. I did not put it on because Canada is, you guys can figure out musically, radio, there's not going to be a lot of black music being played in Canada. Just keep it real, okay? So I discovered Sweet Thing from Mary before I heard the Rufus version. And so for me, it was like, what is this song? And this is like, right? So the remix goes from that perfect, just slow song, whoa, Sweet Thing, and add this little drum beat on top of it. It was like, what? So no, I think Sweet Thing was ruined by the remix, just like another song was ruined by the remix. I prefer the original, but I'll get to that when we get to that song. But anyway, Sweet Thing is a great song, and when she performed it in concert, I'm going to sprinkle this in. I saw Mary J. Blige February 1993, she opened for Bobby Brown on the Humping Around the World tour with TLC. And when she did Sweet, yes, man, she did. It was like I saw all three of them. I also saw Dave Hollister on stage backing her up. So it's like when Sweet Thing came on, the whole auditorium just changed. This is Mary, fresh-faced, fresh-voiced, and it was just magic. So I just feel like Sweet Thing, like Lee said, it was you didn't need to mess it up. Like it was great as it was. Leave it alone. I could say more, as always.
But it was the remix.
You've all picked Sweet Thing already, have you? The remix.
Yeah, it was number 10 for me.
I'll explain later. But carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Hey Zach, we haven't seen you in a while. Joseph, welcome. Number 8 for me is You Don't Have to Worry featuring Craig Mack. I think I prefer the original version than this one. And I didn't hear Craig's rap in this.
Question really quick, not to jump in, but like, do you remember? Okay, so you mentioned how a lot of these songs we were hearing for the first time, right? At least in the U.S., a lot of these were played on the radio before we actually got them on a CD. So you don't have to worry. There was another version. Yeah, it was the version that had the video. It was a different version on the video than it was on this album. So there might be 3 that we're talking about. Was You Don't Have to Worry on what's the 411? Was it on the first album? Because I don't know if it was.
Yes, it was on the first one, but
you're right. But the video version is a different version than what's on this album.
Is that the one that was on the Strictly Business soundtrack?
Yeah, it's that slow looping Jeep beat.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I just gotta find it, but I think anyone who's seen the video knows what I'm talking about, because that's the one that was played on the radio too. The one that's on this album was not played on the radio, and there's not a music video for the one on this album. And so I always felt a little, they should have had both versions. It just felt like a trick. I just had to jump in there for you. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's why as I said, I think I prefer the original and the other mix better than this one.
The Vapor sample. Sorry. Thank you, Chin. Thank you. It's the Vapors from Bismarcky sample. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was number 8 for me was you Don't Have to Worry. What about you?
For me, and I got grilled about this yesterday. I will start by saying I understand how iconic the track is. I understand that it's the first track that Biggie Smalls was ever on. I understand all of that. But for me, it's just not a song that I listen to so much. And this is a subjective list. If I was saying what are the most significant, if I was doing a top 10 list of this album and picking which are the most significant songs on this album, this song might be at number 1. But because it's my ears and what I think, my number 8 is Real Love. I don't do it. I don't listen to it much. I don't care for it too much, but I do understand the significance. And for that, I give it all the respect that it deserves. I love Soul Convention. I love their productions. And who did the remix for this one? It was Daddy-O and Puff Daddy. It wasn't for me. And I'm also a big fan of Greg Nice and Nice and Smooth. So I don't know why it didn't resonate with me. Yeah. But it is what it is.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Stevie, are you going to trump that? And when I say Trump, I'm just mean, are you going to beat that? We're going to get all the political up here. Sorry.
Well, what I will say about Donald Trump and those caps that say "Make America Great Again," if you take the cap off, the red cap, and it says "made in," it says "made in China" in the cap. There's one for you. So they let's make America great again caps. They're all made in China. So good old Trump there. You carry on putting up them tariffs. Anyway, let's move on to number 8. We are at number 8, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, number 8.
Yeah.
On with the remix of "I Don't Want to Do Anything Else." It had like a Jeep beat mix on it. I wasn't blown away. I prefer the album mix. It's it does add something to it, but I didn't play it a lot, I'll be honest. But I do like the song. It's just there, isn't it? It's just there. I wasn't blown away by that mix. So at number 8, it's still mixed and mastered far better than changes I've been going through, though, because it's the 3 boys from Newark, and they never got they always pumped a lot in their mixes. So number 8 for me. You can stay up there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Number 8 for me. I just jumped in because I got excited. All right. So the first time I heard You Remind Me at number 8 was my brother was like, hey, listen to this. Like, he woke me up on a Sunday morning and it's playing on KMEL on the radio. And we first thought it was High Five, actually, believe it or not. But even though it's a high voice for Tony, like the production and the sound like maybe it's a new High Five record. Then when I saw the video for You Remind Me, is actually this remix. And I remember being highly disappointed by the video and the video remix, because the original version of You Remind Me to me is magical, heavenly, scintillating, sparkling. It's like outer space, and it glitters with gold, and the vocals are just perfect. So why would you go to that? Like, I don't know. I just don't prefer the remix. So I say all of that to say You Remind Me is at my number 8. I have zero problems with that ranking. But I think this is a pattern too. It's like, why would you go with the original for your video? Or why would you go for, like, on the songs where I just feel like the wrong version sometimes from certain songs were chosen for the video. And I'll get to the other ones in a second. But for You Remind Me, I just feel like, why would you use that version? You should have used the original.
Okay, so they did okay. I haven't seen the videos in a while, so I need to go back and see them. But okay. So that was your number 8. Okay, number 7 for me is I actually did like what KC did with this, how they slowed it down. But I would say with this, I do think the original was better. And this said, I'm loving you every day. Don't you look no more, love without a limit. I like how Casey comes in and he kind of has, kind of a slower drag with it. And he said, yeah. So I didn't realize that was a Daddy-O sort of production and stuff like that. But as I said, the original I preferred the original a little bit better, but I like what they did with that. So that's at number 7. And we need to investigate this. You don't have to worry. 3 different versions on 3 different soundtracks. So we need to look into that and get back to everyone. Love it.
So you didn't like that mix much?
Man, I am biting my tongue so hard. I'm sorry. Like,
no, I did, but it's
wow.
It's number 7 for me. It's number 7 for me. I mean, but as I said, it's a great album. But when you apart from the bottom 2, everything else could have been anywhere else.
Did you ever go out at the time when that was released and hear that mix in a club?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about Nnamdi.
Oh.
At the time when this album was out, I lived in the South. I lived in Alabama, so we were doing Tootsie Roll and tag team.
Hearing that mix in the club.
Uncle Luke.
We were in the South, so no, Mary New York rap
slow.
wasn't in the South. No, it was a lot more. Yeah, Luke and 2 Live Crew and tag team and stuff.
Man, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and H-Town, and a lot of H-Town.
Yeah.
So we didn't. It wasn't. Yeah, it seems strange, but yeah, no, I'm. Doom. Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. Why was the video to the original? Sorry, man, it should have been there. Anyways, sorry, guys.
But as I said, loving this album. It's one of the things where apart from number 1 and 2, I think all the other tracks,
Yeah.
to me, 3 to 7, they're all pretty much like how Stevie would add 3 tracks to his the top 5. It would add number 5. Yeah, so I love this one, but I had to put it somewhere. More so than I didn't like it, so I'm just gonna dump it at 7. No.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hey, little mama, why you want to dance to me? Yeah, I mean, I do miss 93, 94, 95. In Alabama, it was lots of sudden, yeah. It was take that booty. Oh my goodness, yeah. And then it was a lot of H-Town, R. Kelly, and those type of slow jams. Yeah. But anyway, yes, Stevie.
What number were we on? Number 7.
Number
I have
7.
I've got,
Oh, sorry. Vijay,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
sorry.
Okay. My bad.
I've got to me so quick.
My number 7. I love the original Eddie F version with Kenny Smooth. I also like this version, but my number 7 is You Don't Have to Worry. I like the Lou Donaldson Ode to Billy Joe sample from '67. I think it works well. I think Tony DeFat's done a great job on it, but I do prefer the original. But something has to go at number 7, and it's You Don't Have to Worry.
Okay. Number 7. Okay. Stevie, you're number 7.
Same as what Vijay's picked. I must admit, in my first draft, I had this at number 10. But I do remember at the time, I did listen to the album mix a lot. The remix, listening to it now, there's something in the track. Something's running out of time in it. I sound something. I don't mean that. I don't know if it's that drum. Something out. There's something underneath them, that drum set that's running out of time. And on top of that, some of the vocal, it's just so out of key that it's like, can't do it. I'm struggling with it. You know what I mean? I'm like, and then you've got the heavy raps. But I just remember that track was big at the time. I did play it a lot. So I thought it's got to be further up. So it's ended up at number 7. But I still prefer the album mix. But if you go back and listen to this mix again, there's something something is running out of time in it.
Which one?
In You Don't Have to Worry, in the remix of it.
Okay, got it.
Something like, I'm like, whoa, every time I'm here, he comes around, I'm like, whoa, what's going on there? It's something he's just missed. And then there's something out off key with her vocal when she sings something. So I've just been picky, I guess. It's my ears that got older. It's probably what it is. I didn't realize at the time, but now as I've got older and my ears are a bit more trained, more notice these things.
I know what you mean, actually. I do.
You're noticing things that you didn't before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it now or whatever. I was even okay with it back then. I mean, I'll tell you something. When I was expecting, thank you, Chin. When I was expecting the Vapor sample, You Don't Have to Worry, and got what we got, I was like, what is this? Like, this isn't what I heard. Like, and the music didn't seem to match the vocals back then, like the key. So, but for some reason, I just got into it later, and you'll hear that. You'll hear proof of that. So I guess while I have the microphone, I'll continue to hog it. So number 7 actually is, for me, the Real Love remix. I remember hearing that like way before the album came out, although I don't think that version had Biggie on it, right? So picture fall of 94, and Biggie is already with like Big Papa and Juicy. Yeah, Big Papa and Juicy are basically like hitting, and Bad Boy is just starting to make its presence felt. And there's so much more I could say, so I'll try to keep it short, but let's just say I was all the way Bad Boy. I was absolutely sick and tired of hearing, I'll just get sociological for a second, my people being called B and Ho and all that stuff from Death Row, because I did consider all
the West Coast.
it's like neo minstrelsy. I felt like everyone was kind of laughing at Black people, I'll be honest with you, because I just felt like I was very negative, right? Whereas I think a lot of what was coming out of the Bad Boy camp, as far as the hip hop, soul, and R&B, we had a dignity to ourselves. We held ourselves with much more like just respect, and like it was, they call it ghetto fab or whatever, but it's like it was just a better vibe, and I was all about that. So anyway, when I heard Biggie, early Biggie, look up at the sky, it's a bird and plane. I don't care if it's like a dope rap or not. It was Biggie's voice. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know Biggie was like, I mean, I know who's the man, but it was just great to hear Biggie on top of a mix that I thought was I prefer the original Real Love. I think this one's a little, it's cool, but it's like, it's not, I think the original is more iconic, way more iconic. And I can hear Kenny Green singing on that, by the way. I just feel like I can hear that whole intro on the original Real Love. So anyway, at number 7 is Real Love, the remix featuring Biggie Smalls. And even when I listened to it earlier, I was like, maybe I should have pushed it higher, but I'll stick with my original answer.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And I think it's hard to, for those of us who really love this album, it becomes real fine margins when it comes to moving from 7 to 6 to 5. So I mean, my number, I'm looking at what I put down for number 6, and I'm thinking, I think it could have been even higher. Yo, Puff, that's that knock here. You remind me. Oh goodness, I just love the drum beats. Little giggle from Mary as she starts off, and I think that's the one thing I wrote down is the drums on a lot of these tracks were just. I mean, the rap with Greg Knight. I mean, that felt like a little old early late 80s kind of rap, and how they they're how they rapped in it. But I did like the that. Yeah, you remind me really, especially if you listen to it loud. I'm sure this would have been amazing on the club, in the club scene. So you remind me, featuring Greg Nice of Nice and Smooth at number 6. Yo, Puff, that's that knock right there. Okay, Vijay, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Changes I've Been Going Through. I actually love the original. I really like the original. I think it's a slow burner. It takes a few listens, but then I think the first album is perfect. The original album is perfect. So that may be where we disagree. But Teddy Riley or Sprag Doogie or Mucho or whoever actually remixed this use no samples, which I find fascinating. And I think it's brilliant. I just think, Stevie, you made a good point, though. I wish they'd adjusted the sound levels a little, because I think something's amiss there. And it's odd because it was mixed by, I believe it was mixed by Tony Maserati. And Tony Maserati is an incredible engineer. He knows exactly what he's doing on the track. So I don't know what's happened there. And the only thing I could think is that it was rushed, because the example I gave of the Matrix earlier, how could Teddy be everywhere? It just didn't make any sense. There was just too much going on. So I think this was a bit rushed, maybe. That's the only thing I could think. But that's my number 6.
Yeah, and at the time they was doing this, they had just done the 2 SWV remixes, because they had come down. They were down at the time. Who was it? I think I was at Mike Ettridge. He was talking about being around when Heavy D came down to do his vocals. They'd done the stuff for the SWV. They were working on Michael Jackson's The Addams Family Values stuff, where they did all the work before it had to be shelved because of the accusations. Then they were doing the Blackstreet stuff at the same time. And then all those remixes for Bobby. So there was a lot of business coming through the door. And but that's where Sprague and the rest were doing it. Yeah, it does sound different. It does sound faded. And then you could hear the sort of Pharrell, or I didn't realize it was Pharrell, rapping through the back. But it's stuff that'll get Sprague and Mucha back on later on to talk about that. Okay, Stevie.
This one other thing that I've just thought of, actually, that while we're on that subject of that mix, there might have been no issues with the actual mix or the mastering. It might have been perfect. I'm thinking of the test pressing. There may have been a test pressing of it that didn't come out quite loud enough, but they probably didn't have time to do another test pressing. So that test pressing ended up being the master that we all heard on the 12 that EP we got, the 12-inch that went down to this remix. I don't know. It could have been a test pressing issue. That they
One
didn't.
thing,
Could have
one
been
thing
that.
that I think is interesting with what you've just said there, the vinyl that came out for What's the 411 remix, if you listen to changes on that, the pressing is very low. If you listen to the CD, it's like it's pumped up a bit.
Right.
There is a difference between that. So, I mean,
so you think could there have been a vinyl test pressing issue then?
something's amiss there, yeah, maybe, and they've thought, let's just put this everywhere. I don't know, maybe that could be it.
Right. Number 6. Gosh, I didn't appreciate this track enough at the time. This is the biggest surprise for me on this remix album. Is she singing better than Chaka Khan on this track? No. Did I appreciate the album mix enough back then? No, I didn't. I didn't play it enough. But this is what I'm thinking now with the way 90s jazz hip hop is. It's stood the test of time. That Far Side sound, Diggable Planets, all that jazzy hip hop now, Tribe Called Quest. You've got generations that have picked up on this. They love it. I think if you drop this Sweet Thing mix now in that kind of set, it would blow people's heads away. And that's why I picked a number. It's a revelation, this mix, to me now. I think it sounds, right now, that mix sounds bang on. And that's what I'm saying. You've probably not thought about that. Yeah. It's a jazzy hip hop mix. It works.
No, you're right.
And I think some DJ needs to drop that mix because I'd not heard it before. And I don't even remember it on the remix album, but I don't even remember playing it. And I'm like, how have I missed this? How have I missed this? It sounds so bang on now that
you're right. No, all you gotta do is put it on some sort of streaming like Netflix show. Just throw it in the mix, like throw it on the soundtrack, and all of a sudden,
you got promo 12 with this mix on because I don't.
Good call.
I've got of this mix.
This jazzy hip hop. I've got the other promo 12 with that looping slow. That's the mix I remember. But this mix with the jazzy Jeep beat vibe, is that I don't remember it.
I think this is on the CD promo. I think this is on the CD promo and the promo 12 as well. I think it's on there.
Is
but
it?
If it's not. Yeah, I think it's on there. But let's
check the promo 12. Was it on the promo 12?
I think it's on the CD and the promo 12.
Right, I need to check them out. But I've completely missed it. But I think it sounds bang. I think it sounds spot on right now. Boom.
Yeah,
that's a way to happen. That.
This is what does my head in. Like it's like when you say that. Now I have to listen to it again. Now I want to.
I already know.
Listen to it again.
He's absolutely right.
You know, I dismissed it. It's something a completely sweet thing. Oh, Chaka blows this way, and then I was like, hold on a minute. Let me play this mix again. This is just like, nah, this sounds bang on.
He's saying it with such certainty. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Music is cyclical. And I think that you're right. Today's generation would be all about it. It fits in with that jazz rap thing. You're totally right. All right. So you're witnessing in real time, you know, when you love something so much and you want to make sure you're doing it justice because you just want to like do justice to your love. Right. But and I'm just hoping I'm doing it. And if I don't, oh, well, at least I tried. So my number 6, the original version of this track, believe it or not, this could be blasphemy, but I never liked the original version. I felt it was a little too, this is going to be really rough things for me to say, but when I hear the original version, I think trashy streets, I think pissy stairwells, I think needles lying on the concrete. It's just, you know, alcoholics everywhere. And that is the original version of What's the 411. It sounds very just messy to me. It's just like, it doesn't even have a beat. It's just got like, wah, 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 like Grand Poobah doing his thing, whatever, right? So anyway,
like
he's saying the N-word a couple times too. Fuck that. Anyway, I just cursed. Now, The remix, though, wah, 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 Dave Hall, rock on. And then you've got Biggie doing the first verse of Dreams in there. That to me is like, again, proto Bad Boy Records on the remix. The remix just has swagger. You've got Casey jumping on, all my love is all I have, like harmonizing with her, and my dreams are very special. Yes, Lee, I'm sorry. I know, blasphemy. You need me and I need you. Like, I just think the What's the 411 remix, I do not hate hip hop RD, trust me. It's like, I just think it's better than the original. It is. So, in all, like, he name checks Dave Hall, he name checks Humble and Dice, he's name checking everybody. I think it's a posse cut, and it's just superior. So anyway, throw the cards. But what the 411, the original, it's never been my favorite. The remix, though, I love it.
Okay, and that's your number 6.
Yes.
I mean, I have to agree with you. It made my top 5. I'd rather could go to jail for effing Patti LaBelle, Mariah Carey, kind of scary.
What about my honey Mary? Jeez, they fit her like a glove. I had a crush on her since Real Love. Come on,
Real
man.
Love.
Really?
I mean, he flowed in that. This was like Biggie, like, wow. I mean,
yes.
And this is what I said is, because when we did the original 411, the thing I said when I did I like Grand Pooper. He's sort of lazy type of talking rap kind of thing. But I said, how come we don't get Mary rapping? Because she held her own down, and I thought that was going to be something that Mary would take further in her albums. Because she did lay a blueprint, and she could have done it, but she's just gave, as of course I like Little Kim, when she gets females to feature. But I thought Mary did a real swell job on this. But I do like this than the original one. And then of course you had the harmony with KC. But Biggie was just prime. This was like, wow, this is Ready to Die Biggie.
Yes.
On this. And his rap was much stronger than on the
Real Love.
What was the first one? Real Love.
Yes.
That one, he was still a little, almost like wasn't sure of himself. But this one, he came down.
Exactly.
If any of you have seen Jermaine Dupri on a podcast talking about how it was hard to try and get Escape to really, and he says, because when Biggie said that they weren't good looking, it really made it hard to sell. And so this is the kind of Biggie who has just said Mariah Carey kind of scary. He kind of Biggie. And I'm sure Mariah would have heard this.
It's funny you say that, because like Biggie was responsible for 2 kind of bodies. The first one, of course, with the Escape thing, right? But then he also, remember, he said your rap is played out like Kwame and the Polka Dots. And Kwame said that single line like killed his career. He had to like change his name to K1 Million. Like, it was done. It was over.
His career as well.
Yes, like the Biggie listens to you back then. That was serious. Or even like your style's whack. No,
Money
I think
Love.
he actually dissed Craig Mack. I think kind of like on Big Papa even. Like Biggie was just he had weight, like, and not just literally, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I had to.
I mean, I saw an interview with Money Love, and Money in the Middle. She says, man, that really revived her career when he says, just like Money in the Middle, when Biggie name dropped her, she was saying, man, that really revived her career, because she was almost like people had forgot about her. So I'm sure Mariah would have been like, hey man, Puffy, what's this, man? What's this?
He's like, I got you. Let me remix Fantasy and Honey. We'll make it right.
Yeah, we'll make it all right. But yeah, man. So that was I did prefer to the.
I mean, it almost made.
I like that.
It makes like Drake and Kendrick Lamar just seem so lightweight, doesn't it? So lightweight.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah. Did you think when Biggie was saying all those things, like he's saying Mariah Carey kind of scary, do you think he needed glasses or something? Because I didn't understand. I thought he was trying to make things rhyme, but I didn't agree with everything he said. I'm all right with that one, but that line I don't agree with. That line makes sense.
Yeah, but Mariah was very pop, and I think he's saying Patty, legendary style, and Regina Bell. So he respected some of the vets, but Mariah at the time when she came out, she was very much a mixed race lady being made to look white, and she was singing pop, and so there was that sense of, well, yes, she's not one of us kind of thing. Until they met her and they realized she was more hood than they're almost as hood as they were, and it's like, and she was cool. But this was when this came out, when she'd done Emotions and stuff. So this was before they'd really connected. But it stands out how he could play with the words and not deliberately, because he's no beef with them. But I wonder how Patti Bell felt like. Oh goodness, come on, Biggie, you're good.
Patti
dating
LaBelle, I
someone
think that
who's
was
like
a mark
30.
of respect, right? That was a massive mark of respect for Patti LaBelle. Like,
Yeah.
That wasn't an insult. That was like, because Patti LaBelle is like above everybody. Like, she's like in the top tier of singers. So that's what I think. That was like a real mark of respect. I thought that was fantastic.
And what he was saying, the vision of Love Mariah wasn't that fine. Maybe this is when this is what we saw, what they were at. Yeah. So she changed when she did Dream. Is it with the jean tops and crop tops? She changed her image, and and so yeah. Okay. Who's next? Was it?
Did you say what you was?
That was you. It's Vijay.
Okay, so
Yeah, Vijay. Yeah, so I did my What's the 411.
Okay, so
Number 5.
My number 5 is also What's the 411? Tony DeFat production, Puff Daddy production, remix, this new version with Tumbling Dice and Puff Daddy. The thing about this 12, like this song came out as a 12. There's 3 versions on a promo 12-inch, which it's incredibly hard to get a hold of. I remember picking it up for $4 and thinking, wow, I've done really well, because I've seen it sell for $150, $200. It goes for that. But that Dreams verse was taken off that, and it was put on Dreams on the Juicy promo as a track called Dreams, and obviously that's where that blew up as well. But What's the 411? Fantastic 12-inch. It's an incredible single. I think it's fantastic. I really love it. I love the original. I disagree with you, Andrew. But I love the remix. I love the Biggie rap on this is just fantastic. I feel bad that I can't put this higher, but this is an R&B album. R&B, so it's a hip hop soul album, and I think Mary J. Blige she's a singer, so I gone more with the vocal songs. That's why this is so low down. But I feel bad. It doesn't feel right putting this at number 5. That's my number 5.
Stevie. DJ all day. What's going on?
There's just something about this song that it is a special song. It was in our podcast of the original album. I had it at number 1. It's now at number 5. I've just realised that both Mary J and on Faith Evans' debut, they obviously are influenced by Patrice Rushen. Otherwise, you wouldn't have You Remind Me. But that Patrice, I was listening to that Patrice Rushen the other day, and I thought, that record is just so special, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So I'm sorry, even the Faith, even though it replayed it and Mary J. Blige did her version, just doesn't come doesn't come close to Patrice Rushen. Comes nowhere near. But that's for another debate, another podcast. But I think what you were saying, Nnamdi, about the talking in it, the puffing, there's something very endearing about that. I like that. Very endearing about that. Very innocent. And you get that's the beginnings of Mary, and you're hearing that on the record, and it is very, very endearing. But I love this song, but I just prefer the original album mix, and there was an extended album mix. I love that mix so much. but I love this song, so it's not made. That's why it's at number 5. But I do remember that mix, hearing that mix in a club. I do remember hearing this. It was special. It was special times hearing that. So number 5 anyway.
Do you say? Is it? You remind me your number 5. You say?
Yeah. But on the original 411 album podcast we did, this was my number 1.
Okay, interesting.
I've got so many good memories of that song.
It's fascinating what you said about you feel that Patrice Rushen's version is better. And sometimes when somebody does an original version of something and then somebody does a cover of it, you're always holding the man. What you're trying to say is like the original is the best. So any cover is never going to be good enough. But I felt like, Shantae Savage did I Will Survive. I prefer that to Gloria Gaynor's version. I can't stand Gloria Gaynor's version. Like, it's not for me. I mean, if you're with friends, you're dancing, whatever.
When You Remind Me came out, Mary J, it's special. It's still special. Nearly 40 years on, this record is special. But Patrice Rushen is just...
No, I get it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I heard it the other day and I just thought, wow, I was just knocked out. Just like... And the problem is you've got a generation that don't even know who Patrice Rushen is and won't get that because they grew up with Mary J. Blige, but it's Patrice, you know what I mean? It's like, it's Patrice Rushen. She's a far better singer than Mary J. Far better, she's a musician, but she,
And it's the same point.
This You Remind Me is a great record.
But it's the same point with Sweet Thing, like Shaka Khan's version versus Rufus's version versus Mary J. Blige's version. I mean,
I'll just say though,
a cover. It wasn't a cover, but
it's not a cover.
It's influenced from that.
Correct.
Yeah.
But You Remind. I would say All I Do Is Think of You. I don't know if this is unpopular, but I do think Troop's version is superior to the Jacksons, personally. But that's just me. I know Troop wasn't really that big in the UK, but for the US people, you probably know what song I'm talking about. Anyhow, number 5. Y'all hate this song, and I will say that I didn't like the original. I actually thought it was kind of whack, but I do like the remix. It has a bit more bite. It reminds me a bit of something that I might hear from the Diary of a Mad Band era. So I actually do like the additional percussion to I Don't Want to Do Anything. I think the remix is just it brought it to life. I feel like the album version of I Don't Want to Do Anything is just more it's like a puddle of soul. It's just kind of spread out and just like I don't want to do anything else. Whereas like the remix, it's like you've got the drums, it gives it structure and it's just marching along. And I don't know if the vocals are different. They sound slightly different. They might not be, but if it's a different take, even better. It came to life. If there was if they actually made it a single, I would have absolutely used that version as the video version. So number 5, man. I think it's a great finale.
I think the phrase you're looking for, referring to the original album mix, is the over-egged the cake.
Over what?
The over-egged the cake.
Oh, over-egged it. Yeah. It's just but the other one is just it's disciplined and it's just I like it. I legitimately like. I don't want to do anything.
As I said, I think the remix was richer. I think the original one sounded like they wanted to do, as I mentioned, like kind of David Foster kind of ballad stuff, and I just didn't like the bridge, and that was what really got me there. But I think this one
they throwed a lot.
Became
they
a lot
throwed
more.
a lot in that mix in the original. I must admit they did. They just went
and I don't think and they
change
didn't
every melody. It's all like I say, the over-egged the cake.
Yeah. I think the remix made it more soulful and more to what I think Devante really wanted.
I do need to give it a bit more.
By the way, this is totally unorthodox, but Malik Jefferson in the comments, I'm pretty sure I've seen your remixes on YouTube. I'm pretty sure, and if that's
Malik is
I've done your stuff over the years, man. Just want to say props. Your stuff is dope. All right, that's it. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah. he every remix that you can think of, he has it on his page, and so I've been subscribing to his stuff for a long time. I had at number five. Is it no? Sorry, number four. I like Real Love. I like the drum beats of it as well. Although Big E's sort of "Look Up in the Sky" is a playing, I thought it was a little bit old school hip hop compared to what we just talked about and how he slowed down in what's the 411. It was almost like he became himself in
Yes.
that, and I think he was just almost still excited to be on a rap record, and he was just jumping for joy. And I think he learned like, man, I can slow down. But I just like the drum program, the drum beats of this, and yeah. So Real Love. So what did I just say? Four. Yeah, Real Love remix. That comes in at number four. RD the front. Yeah, that was.
So
number
we're on
four
the
for
same
me.
page, RD. What are you talking about, man? I had like, I don't like hip hop, and he's like, anyway.
Go ahead, Vijay.
My number four. We're number four, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that this song is written by Kenny Green and it's remixed by Teddy Riley. I just can't get my head around that. That just doesn't. It's just I can't explain. Those two things don't seem like they should be together, but it's like a unicorn. So My Love remix coming together the way it did, and I understand Spragg and Mucho had big influence in these remixes. I think it's fantastic. The use of Lafayette Afro rock band's Hihache from 72 as a sample, it works so effectively. I love it. And unfortunately, something needs to be at number four. I can't have everything at number one. So My Love is my number four.
Okay. Stevie, what about
I will
you?
say 4 down to 1 remix wise. They're all big, the perfect mixes. These are, any of them could have been number one. Any of them could have been number 4. I just think got so many good memories of them. But I agree with Vijay. The vocoder, whatever it was, vocoder talk box that Teddy added to the mix. Was it Teddy? It sounded like Teddy to me. I don't know, but that just added something special to it. Was this the edited version or the 6-minute mix? Because the 12 and
6
for about
minutes.
6
minutes,
minutes. No, 7 minutes.
long.
7 minutes and
Oh,
13
long.
seconds.
It's
It was
killing
an
it.
Oh,
epic
yeah,
adventure of a mix. Epic adventure of a mix, wasn't it? So yeah, special mix, really
Yeah,
special. Big contrast to obviously changes. But
M Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
say my drink into the week. Get yourself a drink, fella.
Yeah. Maybe
You know
because
what,
you and
Nnamdi?
Vijay
You know what
have
you
just...
should do? Add a little buy a coffee section to this podcast. Some of the members buy us a coffee, buy us a drink while we're, look at 50 pence while we're doing this podcast.
One of the My Love remixes, which were fantastic, was the New Jack Jazz mix. Unbelievable, man! That mix.
I think there's that extended with the vocoder.
Oh, yeah.
New Jack mix is 6 minutes 15 seconds.
Because I remember there's one that I posted and said, "Well, Teddy, I love what you just did." And who called me back? I think Mucho said no, that was him who did the long extended remix version of it. So he did. There's an extended version of the vocoder that they're almost singing back and forth. So that was Mucho, but I think Teddy probably did a lot more of the original, the single one. Okay, Andrew, what about you?
All right. So number 4 for me, and this is where again I'm gonna lose people. I think for some reason people love the original of this song, and the video is the original. Even my girlfriend loves the original, And I'm like, it's so boring. And to me, it's loving you. I'm not wanna do every day. Remember now, don't you look no more. People are like, fuck Andrew. No, but to me, it's the do. I mean, come on. Said I'm loving you every day. I mean, come on. Don't you look no more. Love without a limit. And you hear Casey in the background, and then like, man, how do they even compare? Like, if you go to a club, right, and they play the original, no one's getting up. You're like sitting there drinking your whatever, right? But that do, you get up, leather jackets, like, let's take it back to 94, man. It's a scene, it's a vibe, and it was the one on the radio. And I was just like, so like, anyways, you guys get the point. Love No Limit is it's, again, it's proto Bad Boy. It's like what Faith was trying to go for. It's what it's literally like it was perfection. And it could have been easily number one, but there's things ahead of it. But it's definitely like my favorite, and I just don't understand how anyone could like the original like better than the remix. But I think I might be the minority.
Say that again. You couldn't understand what? You couldn't understand. You couldn't understand why people like the original.
No.
You're talking about
Love No Limit. I know.
You talk about one of the greatest soul records of the 80s there. I'm kind of offended by that, to be quite honest.
Wait, Love No Limit, the original Love No Limit.
I'm talking about the remix. I'm talking about the sample.
No, I love that sample. Keep rising to the top. Kenny Burke. Yeah, I think we just crossed.
That's one of the greatest 80s soul records ever.
I know. Yeah. That's why I'm saying I love that song.
Right, sorry, I've missed your point. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Cool.
I thought you was like saying nobody gets up to the original. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm in beats there though a little bit. Love No Limit original is crazy. I love it. I'm not saying it's better than the remix, but I love the original Love No Limit as well. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, so top three. So number 3 for me, I would say that the original I just thought was probably one of the most boring songs on the album. I just don't even paid any attention, and it was I couldn't even listen to it. But when I heard the remix version, it just feels a lot more energetic. It just feels like, it just has a lot going for it. Changes I've been going through. I can't imagine why you guys just put it so low. I mean, the original version, I'm listening to it and I thought it's almost like a completely different song. It's actually a completely different song, because if you listen to the original and this and the remix, completely different energy, completely different song, all the stuff that's happening, all the little, echoes at the back and stuff like that. And, can't you, all that stuff. And it just feels a lot more upbeat and a lot more up-tempo. I'm like, wow, goodness. So at number 3, that's changes I've been going through. It would have been interesting if they had just done a rap into it, if Pharrell had stuff in there, but it just really completely different from the original. If I listen to original now, I'm like, I wouldn't even listen to that. That felt like a filler, the original one, but this one felt like, wow, energy and powers up. And Max back.
Said it bottoms up.
So Vijay, what makes it number 3 for you?
My number 3 is this one.
You remind me.
I can't read it.
You remind me. It's you. Okay. You remind me. This remix is. I like it a lot because I was a big fan of Public Enemy in the late 80s. This uses 2 samples: The Son of Public Enemy and Public Enemy number 1, both from 87. You remind me. It's got.
You've done your research tonight, Vijay. With the samples, you've done your research.
It's
Really
brilliant.
good, man.
It's yeah. This album deserved that little bit of that level of respect, I think. So the idea of Mary J. Blige, Dave Jamhall, Puff Daddy, and Public Enemy, and obviously Greg Nice on the ones on the rap, perfect. I love it. Number 3, you remind me.
Wow. Number 3 for me, it kills me to put this at number 3 because I just remember how massive this remix was, just probably from the clubbing memories and just seeing the reaction on the dance floor, people running to the dance floor to dance to it, girls just going crazy singing to it, women, and black girls just going absolutely mad over it. You don't see that now. You just don't see it. But real love the remix, not the album mix. This remix was just it was mesmerizing the club, so powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful songs. This, massive. Number 3 again. It pains me to put it there though. I mean, I probably have heard it too many times that I'm past. It's one of them records. I'm past the excitement. I'm bored of it. Probably am with the album mix, but it's too big of a mix. It's just, again, so special. So special. So number 3 for me, Real Love.
Okay. Andrew, what's number 3?
Number 3, it's kind of funny Boot mentions sequencing. So a big part of why I actually like number 3 is the positioning of the album. I think evaluating a song and is understanding album sequencing are actually two different things. Sequencing is about the whole album as an experience. A song as itself, which is what we're doing right now, has nothing to do with sequencing. That's number 1. Number 2, I saw Mary J. Blige open for Bobby Brown and TLC. And one of the things that I noticed about the Bobby Brown show was Bobby, back in the Don't Be Cruel days, was definitely more of like your suits, dress shoes, kind of, more of a dressy kind of image, right? When I saw him at Bobby, it was raw. It was combat boots. It was definitely, he was cursing on stage. Like he was cursing. He was more kind of thuggish, right? So anyway, when you hear the initial drum beat where Puffy's going, hey, dum, bum, bum, check it. It's that drum beat for You Don't Have to Worry. I actually thought to myself, this sounds like something I could have heard at the concert, like between the songs. Like it's I could hear Bobby over that beat actually. So You Don't Have to Worry, even though it's not the Biz Markie sample version, I actually like a lot because it was a great intro to the album. And then when I keep talking about how this was the first Bad Boy record, it's Craig Mack. And I don't care if it's like a great flow or a bad flow. The fact that when I heard this song in '94, right when the Flavor in Your Ear like single and then that remix came out, nobody was hotter than Craig and Big at that point, right then and there in that moment. So for me, it was a great just statement of what this album is going to be. It's going to be a celebration of hip hop soul. I've got it at number 3, and it's I don't think she's made a song like it since. And I could even hear like a Kenny Green over it again, because I think he might have done You Don't Have to Worry as well. You have to, yeah, there it is. So combat boots, hip hop soul, great opening to the album, because right after the messages, and I think again it's Russell Simmons, who was at that point the king. He had just done, he did Crush Groove, he did Def Jam. He was the elder statesman of hip hop entrepreneurship, right? So there it is, opening the album and letting people know this is Mary, this is hip hop soul, and you're about to be taken on a ride with Craig Mack and the Bad Boy Camp.
Good. Andrew drops mic there. Okay, so top 2. Yeah, it couldn't be number 1 for me, but this was another Kenny Green track, a track that it was on they had so many songs that they just took 3 from intro. I think they were supposed to take a 4th one, but then they didn't have enough space on the What's the 411, and they kept it. I'm not sure. I can't remember which one it was, but even from the original, it was almost set up for this remix, and because the the memories of the remix of the original version of the remix was amazing, and this was Mary with CL Smooth, Reminisce. And I liked when they dropped the little sax in there after he did his rap to say, "Yep, CL Smooth." I actually thought they would get Pete Rock to do the remix and stuff like that. But this was Mary sounding and channeling a little bit of Anita Baker, who she idolized. She always talks about idolizing Anita Baker, and then when she starts off, when she does, she just sings. It's I can't remember which of the Anita songs that it sort of brings homage to, but Reminisce from top to finish, amazing track, and a fitting remake, and especially featuring CL Smooth, which CL has his own style, and I think that's one of the things I loved about the hip hop artists back in the day, is that they were very distinct, and CL Smooth sounded very different from you'd get from a Guru, from a Grand Puba, and you could hear and flow with that. Very conscientious rapper. Reminisce, CL Smooth, number 2. Okay, Vijay.
My number 2 has that incredible bass line from 1982, Kenny Burke's Rising to the Top.
There you go.
Oh my God, when I first heard this, it was just Love No Limit in a club. That mix was just the best. It was just different feeling. And I know there are other songs. I know there's a song, I put Real Love at number 8. Real Love's a massive song. I know what the impact it had, but and I know Stevie, you mentioned the ladies. Ladies loved it. They used to go nuts for it. But Love No Limit, for my ears, was the one. Number 2, and on this, on the single, there were like there's a Puff Daddy mix, which is the one which was done with Daddy O. There's a hip hop mix, bad boy mix, and a jazz mix, which is also incredible. So if you don't have it, you should check it out. But Love No Limit, deservedly at number 2 with that incredible Kenny Burke sample. And also, just wanted to say, Kenny Burke's Rising to the Top is one of the most used samples in hip hop history. There's a reason. It's just perfect. It's a perfect record. Yeah. So thank you, Kenny. Different Kenny, not Kenny Green, Kenny Burke this time. I'm always talking about the other Kenny.
Yeah, but Kenny did 3 tracks. So he wrote Reminisce,
Love
No Limit, and My Love. And yeah, and they would have written more, but there was just no space on the album to fit any more of the intro songs and to put it in there. So yeah. Okay. Stevie, what's your second?
I'm really, really tempted to change my number 2 to number 1, because really if I really break it down, how many of these remixes were actual floor fillers? And I think there's 2. Real Love being one of them. Can I change it to
before you do any of that, all I will say is there's a difference between what we feel are best for our ears, and that's what I've based this list on, and what you would say are the objective biggest songs off this. If we'd done the biggest songs off,
yeah, I know where you go. I know where you're going with this. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't. But I know at the end of the day, the 2 biggest remixes on here, in terms of like floor, and I'm even going to throw in. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, guys, being in a club where people bang tables and bang walls when a certain record comes on. Have you ever experienced that?
Soul Back to Life.
And the atmosphere and the banging the banging the tables. And again, you don't see this, but when Angie Stone passed away, Roy Ayers, when that whole going back to last month, where that whole heap of people just died. Gwen McRae wasn't talked about enough, because I remember the reason why why didn't social media go for Gwen McRae? Because I remember hearing Gwen McRae 90% of you in clubs in Manchester at the time. People were losing their minds. They were banging the tables. They were banging the chairs when that record came on. You know, even more so than all this love that I'm giving. But going back to Mary J. Blige, Love No Limit, which is at my number 2. I've literally I watched them weekend banging the just losing their heads over this mix. And like I'm saying, because Kenny Burke Rising to the Top is one of the greatest soul records of the 80s. Not the greatest, but it's top 5. It could be top 3.
Stunning.
You know, if you go to a club and go to a soul night and they're playing old school stuff from the 80s, you're gonna hear Gap Band Outstanding. You're gonna hear Kenny Burke Rising to the Top. You're gonna hear Cameo Candy. It's just such a massive record. I've not heard it out for a while actually, but that mix,
Yeah.
Just
So what are you doing, dude? Number 2, number 1, which one is it?
Yeah, they got it right. You know, they took an all-time classic here, and did they get this mix right? Boy, they got it right. They got it right, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, it is a number 1 mix. There's only two mixes on this album that filled the floor: Real Love and Love No Limit. It's at number 2, and it pains me to say that. Pains me to say it. I'll be honest.
I feel your pain, man. I feel bad for you, bro.
It's painful. You know.
Andrew,
I am going to own my opinions. If I have an opinion, and y'all motherfuckers don't like it, it has nothing to do with you. It is purely mine. That said, yes, my beautiful girlfriend, probably fiance, and more. I just said that out loud. Back in high school, she said she made a routine to this song, which I considered a little, I don't know, it's just kind of, to me, again, more mellow. And the video was made to this version, not the remix. I would have made the remix. I would have made the video to the remix. When I saw her in concert, again, it was definitely the remix. The chorus on the original is, let's make the time tonight while the feeling's right. Reminisce on the love we had, right? But on the remix, it's, let's make the time tonight. Feeling is oh so right. Reminisce on the love we had. Make the time. It's peppier. It's bubblier. It's just, there's more going on. The original bass line is like boom 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 boom. Right? Again, my opinions, y'all. Don't get offended. The remix. Doom doom dum 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 doom doom dum 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 dum. Doom doom dum 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 dum. Come on, doom doom dum dum dum. Like, come on, like, how is this even a comparison? So anyway, yes, Rema fucking Liss at number 2 for me. Reminds me of driving across the Golden Gate Bridge at night. Skyline, fabulousness. I am extra motherfucker. Sorry, I shouldn't keep cursing, but I curse for emphasis. Yes, they're both good. And again, she made a dance routine. I'm sure she'll look like a fly girl with the whole, like, you know, bustier and like sensual and all that stuff. But yeah, man, for me, it's not reminisce. It's just, whew. All right. Y'all get the point. I hate the song.
No, you sum the mix up perfectly, I think. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
The
The audio 2 mix.
Yeah. It's it was definitely a different version. But she performed that with CL on shows. She was doing she was doing the remix version on there because it was just something in there. Okay, just going from 10 down to 1. At number 10, I had Sweet Thing, a little bit better than the original. Nice little drum beats in there. At number 9, I Don't Want to Do Anything featuring KC, as again a lot more soulful than the original. At number 8, it's You Don't Have to Worry featuring Craig Mack, one of 3 versions. Number 7 was Love No Limit with KC. You know, said I'm loving you. Yeah. Number 6 was You Remind Me featuring Greg Nice. Number 5 was Biggie's Coming Out Party. What's the 411 with KC? Number 4 was Real Love Remix featuring Biggie again. Probably still trying to be excited that he was just, featured on a record. At number 3 was Changes I've Been Going Through. I mean, it's just night and day from the original one. Much better. Number 2, Reminisce, CL Smooth. And number 1 is a track that I probably rinse on this album. When I say rinse, I mean I play it so often. I mean, when I make a mixtape, when I have my top 20 songs, this is always in there. It has this Nothing But a Party. I'll grab some of my songs that I constantly play, and dusting off Monsieur Heavy D and having him come in to lay down his raps. 7 minutes and 13 seconds. Now that my love is gone away, what can I do without you? What can I do without? And then he just goes back into it. That nothing but love for you, baby. I got nothing but love.
Hear me now.
Hear me now. and he just starts to. Oh goodness! I'm just listening to the whole thing. Oh goodness! And I'm surprised she didn't re-record her vocals. But then she wasn't there. They just got her vocals, and completely different from the original one, and how it starts off. But yeah, and I don't. Maybe it's Teddy, because I make no apologies that I was a Teddy fan from day one. Anything he touched, I had to enjoy. And maybe that's why. But this song to me, and I like the fact that he didn't rush it, gave it a nice 7 minutes for me to enjoy. And I'll just keep playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it. So my favorite track on the album, probably why I like the album so much, is because of those 2 Teddy remixes. My Love featuring Heavy D is number 1.
Very good.
Brando from Chicago, haven't seen you in a bit. Welcome, new pack. Okay, Vijay, count down from 10 to 1.
Number 10, Mark Sparks remix of Sweet Thing. Number 9, Vincent Herbert remix of I Don't Want to Do Anything. Number 8, Daddy O Puffy remix of Real Love. Number 7, Tony DeFat Puff remix of You Don't Have to Worry. Number 6, Teddy Riley Sprag Doogie Mucho Changes I've Been Going Through. Number 5, sampling Johnny Guitar Watson Superman Lover from 1976. What's the 411? Number 4, My Love with Teddy Riley and Heavy D, Sprag again. Number 3 is You Remind Me, Puffy remix. And number 2, Love No Limit, Puff and Daddy O. And my number 1 is an incredible song. I think Andrew's just talked about how important this single was, but the way They Reminisce Over You was merged into this track, it was just perfection, and you can't fault it. I'm a huge fan of the original, but this remix is just elevates it to something else. And what's interesting is, I think what's his name, the King is just mentioned. There's a sample on here which links Teddy Riley to Reminisce, and it's the classical 2 Next Generation sample, which you couldn't make that up, and you put all those elements to it. And shout out to Greg Marius, who also produced that. But Reminisce is my number 1. and I think rightly so.
I had a feeling I thought you'd either gone for My Love or that one. I was thinking, what was you going to go for number one? And I thought it's either Reminisce. I mean, let's be really honest here, guys. Take all the production out, all the samples, all the mixes. Take all that out. What is really the best song? Just a standalone song lyrically on this album. Are we all saying something different, or
Reminisce for me, I think.
Reminisce? What do you think, Nnamdi?
I think My Love.
Yeah, the original My Love is also stunning. Like if you look,
all right, then what did you have at your number one in the original Mary J. Blige podcast? What was your number one?
Oh goodness, no.
Because I remember you giving me
probably
really
was Reminisce.
They were giving me a hard time over My Love.
It would probably be Reminisce because it would have been Reminisce.
yeah.
Right, okay, let's get to my number 10. Changes I've been going through at number 10 for that's probably the most debated on here today, and I gave my reasons for it. You should always back up your reasons. Number 9, What's the 411, which I need to listen to. I need to give that a bit more attention because I just didn't at the time. Probably because I didn't get I couldn't find the 12. You know, I did. This was probably one of the reasons why I bought this album. Thought, well, at least there's one mix here that I don't have, and it's that one. And probably That Sweet Thing. Number 8, I Don't Want to Do Anything Else. Number 7, You Don't Have to Worry. Number 6, Sweet Thing, which has been a complete rediscovery and revelation for me. Like say the Babyface track, Let's Get Romantic. Been that actual remix. Number 5, You Remind Me. Number 4, My Love. Number 3, Real Love. Number 2, It's Killed Me to Be at number 2. Love No Limit. And number 1, everything Vijay said about Reminisce, the actual remix. And I also think if I nail it down, I think it's the best song on the album. If I really, even though I picked You Remind Me at number 1 in my previous one, I think really it's the best song in it because it's not really borrowing from anything. It's just as an original song. I think it's the best song. And as well, this remix, it was one of the, you know, when you're in a club and it's like, it's getting on for 11:45 and it's busy, but the dance floor's not got going yet. And the DJ's got to play that record. It's going to get, it's not the biggest remix or record of the night, but he needs to play a record that's going to make people go, shit, I just need to go on the dance floor. I just need to get there and get the night going. I've seen this mix be that a midnight mix where it just gets this comes on, bum, 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 and everyone's like, whoa, and everyone's like, yep. And they all pile on the floor then, and the night gets going. So I've seen that as well with this, but it is a perfect mix. So Reminisce is number 1 for me.
Okay.
So we got My Love.
Quick
We
question.
got 2 Reminisces. We got My. What did you pick, Andrew? For number 1.
Just before you did that, the drum beats for My Love, is that not the same drum beats for Human Nature remix SWV? Dum 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 dum.
I think it's the same sample as 69 by Father MC. You guys know that like I think it's that same drum. It's the same sample. That's what I'm hearing. My Love 69, same sample. But I see what you're saying with the other one, Human Nature. But yeah. But anyhow, all right. So again, I'm going to try to do justice to my love of this song that I'm going to pick for number 1. Spoiler alert. Number 10 is Changes I've Been Going Through. Again, you know, controversy. Number 9 is Sweet Thing, although Stevie completely, like, man, I throw that in Black Mirror and see what happens. Like, people got to discover that version. You split it for me. Number 8, You Remind Me. Number 7, Real Love. Number 6, What's the 411. Number 5, I Don't Want to Do Anything. Number 4, Love No Limit. Number 3, You Don't Have to Worry. Number 2, Reminisce. And yes, number 1 is I don't know what to do with you. Like basically, when like I don't know So I'm really trying to give I'm trying to give justice to just how that boom, boom. It was a vibe. It was just like, again, right after You Don't Have to Worry. It's like, to me, and this again potentially controversial, but Teddy Riley in my mind was almost passing the baton from New Jack Swing to hip hop soul, and he's like, let me just make one more ridiculously fire production. In case you forgot, I'm Teddy Riley, okay? And what I even played this for my girlfriend, and it was such a cool moment to see her eyes widen. I said, listen to this. And I'm like, listen to this. And all of a sudden he hears, nothing but love for you, baby. I got nothing but love for you, homie. Hearing now. She's like, oh my God. Like, because remember, Fall 94, that song was all over MTV. Probably Heavy's biggest hit, believe it or not, at least in the 90s. And it was like, so he got it from this. And I'm like, yes. Like, you need to listen to this album. This What's the 411 remix album. There's so many seeds to like the culture on one album, including Nothing But Love by Heavy D. So, and again, it's so long. Oh, sorry. Vij, we were talking yesterday, okay? And we were talking, and we wanted me to listen to My Love, the original. So I did, right? But check this out, though. The whole "Now That My Love Has Gone Away From You" is not on the original. And I was waiting for it, and it didn't. But the fact that keeps happening, now that my love gone away from you, and then what can I do without you? It's just a cacophony of soul elements just mixing together to be a galaxy of galactic goodness. All right, I'm gonna chill now. You get the point. I did justice. I love this song, and I had to like put it out there. Mary, if you see this, Teddy, if you see this, just know how much you made this 17-year-old at the time. You gave me life. All right, sorry, EJ, you were gonna say something.
No, it's great. It's great. I think I like what DJ All Day said. He said, "Yo, I never heard nobody mimic a vocal so flawlessly." That was
Yes, it is my cutie. It does recur my cutie, my cutie, my cutie. The drum loop of my cutie, my cutie, my cutie, my cutie. What can I do without nothing but love? Yeah. Yeah, as I said, it's a nice long track, and I just love how it just flows around like that. What can I do without love? And I think the extended jazzy version has the more of the background, the to and fro and stuff like that. Yeah, it is one of my.
I mean, Andy
Yeah,
makes
I
a
have a
good point
separate
tonight. He
playlist.
makes a good point about the album and the way things move forward and what it did for the culture.
yeah, for sure.
I do that, but to counteract that, I think I made another point in another podcast saying when Mary J. Blige turned up, it was the death of the real black female singer.
Whoa.
Well, you could look at it that way.
There's a lot to unpack. Yeah, no, that is
death of the death of the outstanding. Because before that, we had Whitney, Anita Baker.
You had to really, yeah.
When Mary J. Blige turned up, it was all over for that.
What about like what's her name? Oh my gosh, she's from Chicago. Shoot, she's an EGOT. Oh my god, Jennifer Hudson. She can sing, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but I mean, who bought the albums? I mean, what you're saying is back in the day, we were, it wasn't about the look and
very
image.
harsh. Sorry, Nam, but it's harsh to say, hard to hear.
No, I mean, yeah.
They said definitely Miss Jones as well. Okay. I didn't hear about Miss Jones. So she must have been out around the same time. Trisha Covington. It became more of a production-led stuff. So we focused on the production and the whole stuff.
Or image.
The Regina Bells, the type of I remember Regina's A Whole New World. That was more adult contemporary, but it was still vocally like, oh, that's what we were listening to. But then Anita Baker and all the stuff, it became more of the production and stuff. But yeah, well, half of us picked My Love featuring Heavy D, and the other half picked Reminisce. I had Reminisce as number 2,
And I did too.
but
So it was perfect.
okay.
Yeah.
Both great mixes, both great remixes.
No doubt.
Yeah, but as I said, they've it's definitely. As I said, I'll be honest to say that My Love and Changes made me really love the album. But yes, it was something that I would have preferred Teddy doing an original track for Mary to see what he would have done with her. But she was supposed to be on drama on the final album, and when Eric Williams went to record the vocals without Teddy, she said to Jimmy Iovine, "Scrap it, take my vocals off of drama," and unfortunately, that made a difference for that album. But anyway,
Please,
hope
go
you
and
guys-
buy the new album. Go and buy, keep it going.
Another thing that I wanted to say about My Love and how it was the baton of New Jack Swing to hip hop soul was, to me, like Heavy was more New Jack Swing, Biggie was more hip hop soul, right? So again, My Love with Heavy on there was that more New Jack Swing era. Like, it was the end. It was like this, almost like a swan song for that era. And then you've got the What's the 411 remix, which is straight up hip hop soul, and you've got Biggie on it instead. So I just wanted to just kind of really even point that out as far as two major kind of collabos happening on the same album, with Teddy and Heavy. And then who did What's 411? Was that Dave? No, Tumble and Dice, you said, right? So we were Rashad. Yeah. And then of course. Anyway, y'all get the point, but I just had to throw that in there because I had so many thoughts around the album. Sorry. Yeah, get the album that CD was talking about, the new Mary.
Her Gratitude album, and she's on tour. She's moving to the UK, so definitely appreciate you guys. I hope you guys tuning in. On...
the list, the master list.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Okay,
the master list.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this got quite a few submissions this time. If you are interested in Mary J. Blige remixes, this came out in 2019. I think it's on streaming sites. It's called Her Story. And if you are a real collector and you like 7 inches, those remixes are available on this Uptown kind of box. It's kind of cool. Top 10 from everybody that submitted their lists. At number 10 was Sweet Thing. Number 9 was Changes I've Been Going Through. Number 8 was I Don't Want to Do Anything. Number 7 was What's the 411. Number 6, You Remind Me. Number 5, You Don't Have to Worry. And I got grilled so badly when I said I didn't rate Real Love. Real Love is at number 4 on this list. So no disrespect to the track, but this is an objective list, and Real Love made it to number 4 after all the submissions. My Love is at number 3. Number 2 is Love No Limit. And number 1 is what the original title was going to be for What's the 411. And that was going to be Reminisce. The album was meant to be called Reminisce. And that is the number 1 song as voted by everybody collectively.
Read that top 10 again, the top to 5. I missed that for some reason. My head was thinking.
Okay. So number 5, You Don't Have to Worry.
Sorry, from number 10. Sorry.
From number 10.
Yeah, read from number 10 to number 5. I missed that. I weren't listening. Sorry.
10, Sweet Thing. 9, Changes I've Been Going Through.
Yeah.
8, I Don't Want to Do Anything.
Yeah.
Number 7, What's the 411.
Yeah.
Number 6, You Remind Me.
So Changes I Was Going Through was at number what? Number 9.
Number 9.
See, I see. Right up there. I knew, you see, right up there where it belongs.
Yeah. You Don't Have to Worry at number 5. Real Love at number 4. My Love at number 3. Love No Limit at number 2. And Reminisce at number 1.
So I was pretty, my chart kind of, it does reflect that. Pretty close.
Me in parts. Yeah,
Okay.
Me in parts.
So, guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We've got a great show coming up over the next couple of weeks. Stevie's dug out
Please
a
tune
guy
in Saturday
called
night for listen. I've been selfish. I picked a real collector's R&B album from '94, London Jones. I know some of you, quite a lot, will probably have that album tucked away in your collection somewhere. It's got some great stuff on it. And if I wouldn't have said to Nnamdi and Miss J, please, can we just pick something that is unsung, underrated? There'd be nowhere else on the net that would probably review this album. So it's just one chance to review this album, which it's got production from Kyle West on it, which has been completely forgotten about. Angela Wimbush, Tricky Stewart, them guys, Stanley Brown.
Oh,
You know,
brilliant.
it's got the production team on it is unbelievable. I'm not saying it's a perfect album, because there is some tracks on there, that 3 or 4 tracks that you could skip, but the good tracks on it, the 7 or 8 tracks on there that are absolute killers. I mean, real killers. So Saturday night, please join us. Please join us for that. And we may do an album as underrated or as unsung as that again, because Nnamdi likes to keep going over Teddy Riley, keeps going over Jam and Lewis, keeps going over LA and Babyface. When will we get to Troy Taylor and the characters? When will we get to the Untouchables? When will we get to Full Force? We've got to get to all these people at some point.
Dallas Austin, please.
Dallas Austin. We've got to at some point move on from Teddy and LaFace and Jam and Lewis. Let's get it out of our system. Let's get it out of our system, guys. In this upcoming podcast, we can move on and get to all these others that were just as part of Jack Swing. Please, before
So that won't happen, guys, because they're part of the history. They will. We don't really do producers. We do
Chucky
the albums.
Booker, I like that. Chucky Booker top 10. That'll be a good one.
I'm sure. So May 4th, it's going to be probably one of the hardest episodes, because we've got to pick 15 different albums, 15 different tracks from 15 different artists. 5 produced by Teddy, 5 produced by Jimmy and Terry, 5 produced by LA and Babyface. We can't have the same artists, can't have the same producer on the same album. So if you have Don't Be Cruel, you can't pick the Don't Be Cruel album. You can't have Teddy and Babyface. You've got to pick one or the other. So, and then we've got to then rank those 15 songs from 15 down to 1. Which is probably, I think, is going to be the hardest part of it. So that's the battle of the producers in 2 weeks' time. Teddy versus Jimmy versus LA and Babyface. So, yes, tune in for that. Tune in for London Jones. I think we've got Jodeci on the 18th, Diary of a Mad Band. So that's also going to be really interesting. What some call one of the greatest R&B albums produced in the 90s. Some of the producers really love that. So quite a lot going through on that as well. But Joe has I think he did have one featuring Arkell. And yeah, pleasantly surprised with the album, Stevie. I think if he was a group, he would have done much better. And if he wasn't an MCA, he would have been better. So this Saturday's London Jones. And he was on the House Party soundtrack. That's when and the only time I've heard of London Jones was that House Party 2 soundtrack. We have to do the House Party 1 and 2 soundtrack. Probably one of the best soundtracks ever made, and probably set the tone for soundtracks going forward.
No, I appreciate you and Miss J have not heard that album before, so it's going to be good to hear both of your thoughts on that album.
I've only heard the one track that he had on the House Party soundtrack.
Really good to hear your thoughts on that album for the first, as a fresh out, you'll be totally fresh to you. So, yeah.
And the interesting thing about London Jones is that he was label mates with Aaron Hall and Damian Hall and Jesse Powell, amongst a few others, on Silas Records. So
Yeah, so that was the issue with that MCA Silas. It was just that they just had too many black artists that they just, they just didn't really. They just decided, oh, you didn't sell, pick up the next one.
Great
But
A&R
anyway,
spotting though. Great A&R to spotting.
yeah, yeah. And then he probably did. He did have that Terrence 10 Derby type of vibe, and as well, yeah. But anyway, Mo Money soundtrack might make. I think a song might make my top 15. Who knows? I'm not saying anything in there, but yes, it could make it, but who knows? Anyway, guys, I just got back from France, so I'm quite tired. But it's been a great show. My Love and Reminisce were tied for number one on both of those, and so we're gonna see you guys next week and weeks to come. So from the four of us, we love you, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of
And somewhere in between
us for even loving us, on which I did miss you really.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No. Okay, okay.
They don't understand what Jodeci boys do in the all spirits.